Hi, I'm John, and I collect cards. And just thought I'd take a few minutes here today with all the junk that's going on between the owners and players, and really between the owners and owners. Apparently, it's just a handful of owners, a small handful of owners, that's keeping this deal from getting done. I thought I'd look, kind of go into, baseball past a little bit here, and just that's why I kind of have this book in front of me. I'm looking forward to reading some of this book. I got it as a gift recently. It looks really interesting. It just came out last year. Wanted to show a few autographs through the mail that I've received in the last year and a half since I've been back in the hobby that I've really enjoyed getting. TTM through the mail has been kind of the part of the hobby that is truly new for me since I got back into it a couple of years ago, and it's just a really fun thing to do. I usually try to get 2 or 3 out a week to players. It's just, when they come in, it's just always fun. And that's been a new wrinkle that I've really enjoyed. So I just wanted to show you a few that have meant a lot to me here in just a few minutes here. So the first one I'm going to show is this one right here. 1957, Carl Erskine, Topps, of course. This was the first TTM I got. And when I saw that he is still signing and he turns around his autos really quick, like within a week, I said, let's just give it a shot. I got this in a singles box at my LCS for like $5. And I was like, it's a pretty nice card actually for, the condition. It's pretty nice. A little paper loss, but not very much. Eye appeal's very nice. It's like, I'm just going to throw this out there in the mail, see what happens. And yep, less than a week later, about 8 days later, it came back beautifully signed by Carl Erskine. One of the core starting pitchers on the Brooklyn and Los Angeles Dodgers back in the mid to late 50s. Love the Ebbets Field in the background. Just like, this is like a time capsule kind of picture that just really takes you back into, like, almost puts you right on the field. Topps did a lot of pictures for this set at the Polo Grounds and Ebbets Field and Yankee Stadium, where it's just the backgrounds just really kind of catch me there, and they're just like really almost put you there. And so I love this card, and I love it even more that he signed it, and the way he signed it, where he signed it, just beautiful. So that's my first one I want to show you. Second one is a pair of autos from a person otherwise known as the Spaceman, Bill Lee. He signs them. I got these in 2020. He signs them Earth with the year after it, after his name. Funny thing with, so I have a standard note that I send to everybody and adapt it a little bit depending on who the player is. It's like a 2 to 3 paragraph, pretty brief note, but I do print one out for everybody. For Bill Lee, I actually, this is like in 1994 maybe. It was the first season of the Conan O'Brien show, and for whatever reason, he had Bill Lee on as a guest, and I was in the studio audience for that. It was just very odd that he was a guest on his. I can't even remember if Bill Lee had anything going on to be on the show, other than maybe Conan was a fan of his back in the day, because I think Conan was from New England originally. So anyway, I mentioned that in my letter, just saying, and I saw you in '94 on the Conan show, and he did actually note it on his index card, which I should have pulled out and had for you here, but it was just like a one phrase, like, go Conan or something like that he sort of wrote. But anyway, funny. I thought that was kind of funny. Interesting guy, of course. Was a pretty good pitcher for a start of his career, most of his career. He got hurt, and I think, went from starter to reliever, and, kind of battled injuries for second half of his career. But cool signature. Very interesting guy, obviously. There you go, Bill Lee. Next one I'm going to show is, I'll show you this one really quick. This is just, so the 1969 Topps set is, in my opinion, one of Topps' weakest sets. And there are videos out there that explain why. Just so many hatless people, and just a whole bunch of the design is plain vanilla. But there are some that stand out, some shots in that set, and this is one of them right here. 1969 Topps Cleon Jones, Mets. He signed this for $5. Was happy to drop $5 in the mail for this. It's not the cleanest signature, but it's a beautiful signature still. And, Cleon Jones, the amazing Mets, 1969. I happen to love the Mets road unis in this style, with the piping down the front and the New York print. I just love this one, among my favorite road jerseys among any team. And he caught the last out in the World Series against the Orioles and was one of their bigger offensive players. Just a beautiful card. I love that. Just spring training, probably gaze out. It's just a really cool photo, and it makes it even better with this auto. Love this card. You're probably hearing my cat in the background, unfortunately, but I'm going to let it go. Next one I'm going to show you really quick is a dual autograph. This is the only dual autograph I have. I managed to get it signed by both people. The card's in terrible condition. I got it just as a in a grab bag, I think it was. But they both signed it. Mazurovsky and Rich Goose Gossage. Very cool card. Was excited to get. I got Al's first, along with a couple of others he signed. The Mad Hungarian, as he was known, and then I got Goose to sign it. And I also sent him another card, and he must have liked my message so much, which references my first game when I went to my first baseball game was in 1978 at Yankee Stadium. And in Goose's case, he actually did not pitch that night. That was his first year with the Yankees. He did not pitch that night, but he must have liked my note that he inscribed this one all on his own. Put HLF 2008 on there. Really cool Goose Gossage signature. This is 2020 Allen and Ginter, a hot box parallel, so the silver foil parallel. This is just a really nice card. Already, Allen Ginter card signed very well, and looks even nicer with his with those classic script G's, cursive G's. Just a really cool card. Another 20 and 20 Allen Ginter I really like getting back for, and Goose was, I believe, $10 a card, and I just didn't. That's about the max I'll drop the cash in the mail is a 20. Beyond that, a little uncomfortable, I think. But I've only done that a handful of times. The vast majority of my TTMs have been, the free ones, and I've got a stack actually of commons here that I just sort of took out and when I was rifling through them. And some of them are interesting, but I'll just go through a handful really quick if you like this sort of. Just very random. Steve Rogers, Del Unser, Eddie Watt, who actually pitched in the '69 series and kind of gave up the last runs for the Mets that year, so that's another cool auto, actually. Toby Harrah, Dave Giusti on the Pirates back in the early '70s. He was their closer, I believe. Some other older ones there. Bob Aspromonte. I've got his brother in here somewhere. There, Ken Aspromonte. Sent those out about the same time, and they came back right around the same time. So, good stuff there. But another Allen and Ginter one right here, Jim Palmer. This is a cool one, I thought. Cost $10, I believe. Turned it around pretty quick. He's got a really cool, unique signature. The only problem I don't like about this one is, unfortunately, kind of went up his nose a little bit. But other than that, a really nice card. Couple more I'll show you here. These are a couple of other older ones. Just like when you can get older players, they're not going to be signing much longer. So, Bobby Shantz. He's in his 90s, mid-90s, I believe. I read something where it's like, I think it was almost joking, like he's waiting at his mailbox every day for what he gets in the mail because he turns them around so fast. Really cool signature there, 1960 tops. Here's an interesting player, Charlie Maxwell, 1957 tops. Again, this is one among my favorite sets. The photography in this set it was kind of their answer to 1953 Bowman, I think. And just a really cool set. Charlie Maxwell lives about 10-15 miles from my house in western Michigan. So I just dropped him this, and $10 actually, and he turned it around. Very nice. He's in his 90s. Here's another interesting thing about Charlie Maxwell is he started with Boston, and I think just couldn't make it. Ted Williams was still going strong, and so he kind of was bouncing around Boston for a while. He finally got dealt to Detroit, I believe. I think it was just a trade, and he found his niche for 3 or 4 years. He was a slugger. Had at least 1 or 2 All-Star appearances. This guy was a pretty good player for about 3 to 5 years. He was among the stars of the American League. And here's another interesting old one, Dal Maxville, known more as a Cardinals executive than as a shortstop, but he was a shortstop on their 64 World Series winner and 67 and 68 World Series teams, so 2 World Series titles for this guy as a player. Won at least a couple more as an executive with them. Interesting auto, ballpoint ink on that one. show you a couple more here. Actually, I'll stick with the Cardinals. This is one of my more recent cool autos that I really liked getting, and I just had to get him. When I saw he was signing, I needed to send some out to him. Tim McCarver, core part of that 1964 Cardinal team. I think if he wasn't MVP, he may have been MVP. He hit a big home run against the Yankees, actually, in Game 7, I think it was, at Yankee Stadium. He had the key hit there. I think it was a homer. Nice signature, really cool card. This is his second-year card, 1963 Topps. Just kind of a cool shot. And then another one from like 13 years later, 1976. I really think the 1976 set, that's sort of one of my go-to for autos for through the mails. I bought a batch of 76s and 74s for, I don't know, when I got back in the hobby, I just bought a batch for whatever reason from a guy, and a lot of the cards are all centered and stuff, but every so often I find some interesting ones and I send them off, and I'm glad I did for this one. And so I am going to show two more, and these are probably the most special ones I've gotten in the mail, through the mail since I've started doing this. They're both from the same year, 1961 Topps, and they're from two players who play the same position. And they opposed each other in the World Series that year. The first one I'm going to show is this one. Bill Mazurovsky. He hit the home run to win the World Series for the Pirates that year. And what I really liked, it's a really nice signature, and I think it was $10. Turned it around pretty quick. Really nice card. I got this on eBay I probably paid, it's got a not great bottom right corner. I wasn't planning to immediately send it off. I've had it for about a year or so before I sent it, but I'm like, you know what? For a while I thought I was going to build a 61 Topps set because I just happen to really like it. I think it's among the more underrated Topps sets. I like the simpler, cleaner looks of sets, and this is one of them. And then I just decided, I'm going to send this out. He's signing, let's take advantage of that opportunity. So I sent it out and came back, really nice signature there. I'm a fan of card backs. I think they're underrated. So, some people might rather have the 1960 Bill Mazurovsky because that's the year he hit that home run to win the series. I'm actually a fan of having the card after that, especially if they recognize the key moment from that past season. So here you go, right here. Bill won the 60 World Series with his home run. Yay! Just a really fun card there. There's history right there on the back. I just think that's really cool. Big fan of that. Card backs to him, fun little pirate hat there. Card backs to me are underrated. And if, heck, that's all we all learned math, right? Back in the day. Well, at least for the pitching ones especially. Batting average too for hits and at-bats. Very cool. Anyway, underrated for me. That card backs, I think, are not underappreciated, I guess you could say. So the last one I'm going to show here, like I said, opposing. So you probably know who the last card's going to be based on the other stuff I said before. Also played in the series, played the same position. And he's on the New York Yankees. And he wore number 1 before Billy Martin. Well, actually, he wore it after Billy Martin, but before he was retired. And that's Bobby Richardson. So he is still signing for free. Just seems like a really nice guy. Overall, you watch him. There's a really cool video of that Bob Costas hosted. It was an MLB Network. And I hate to mention MLB Network because that's essentially the owners and what they're doing right now. But there was a video, like a film uncovered recently in the last 5 to 10 years, I guess, of Game 7 of the 60 series in pretty nice condition, like the actual like CinemaScope or TV kind of film of that game. Mel Allen was doing the play-by-play, I believe, and they premiered it in a Pittsburgh theater, and Bobby Richardson was one of the featured guests along with Dick Groat of the Pirates and a few others from that Pirates team. There may have been another Yankee there as well, but I know Bobby Richardson was the main Yankee. Just like a really engaging, person, always has been. And so I was thrilled to get this card. He did all this inscription on his own without me asking for anything there. So I just love this card. I got this card in a Commons box. Commons box, to me, Bobby Richardson's not a common. It was just in a box of 61s at my LCS. I paid $3 for this card. And, I would go through them over a course of a half an hour, pick out a bunch that I thought looked pretty good. And, this is probably a nice, it's a 4 at least. It's got some fisheyes and stuff, but this is at least a 4 PSA, I think. But anyway, card back in, maybe even a 5. Bobby hit a grand slammer in the 60 series. You know, he set a mark with 12 RBIs in the series. He was the MVP of the series, as he inscribed on his card, in a losing effort. I can't remember if there's another person who's done that. There probably has been, but you could probably count them on one hand. World Series MVPs on the losing team. I just love the back here. Set the mark with 12 RBIs in the series. Boy, can you hit. Just fun stuff. Again, history there in kind of a nutshell. And nice shot of him with the batting cage. I'm a big fan of batting cage kind of shots. There's just lots of good angles for photography that can work there. There's a classic, I think it's Pete Rose, actually, from the 76 set again. I kind of call it, if you look at 76 tops, I don't know if one of the cards I showed you had an example of that, but I kind of call it the batting cage set because there are just so many shots from around there. In fact, there's one. Let me see if I can grab one more really quick. Kind of a post-game clip, post-game auto. Here's one I got of Bobby Valentine from 76 tops. They just sign really well, I think. He's around the batting cage here. He's not actually at the cage, but there are lots of shots of batting cage folks in that set that I just think are cool, and I wish Topps would do more photography like that. It was probably just an idea one year that they did. This is probably another video that I could have done on just talking about this, but that was a cool theme for that year, I thought, across some of the cards in that set. So anyway, I'm going to let it go. My cat's starting to meow again. And thank you for kind of watching along here as I showed some really interesting through the mail autos that I've received in the last 2 years. So until the next one, take care.